Board of Selectmen meeting to order,
Definitely.
Thursday, January 31st, last day of the month. Gentlemen, we have some old business, one set of minutes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the January 24th, 2019 meeting minutes as amended.
Second.
Any further discussion on them?
Nope, changes were very small.
All in favor?
Aye.
Before I forget, I'd just like to acknowledge that we have all three selectmen present, the town administrator is present, the recording secretary is present, and I'd like to acknowledge Linda Nickerson for posting and Leo Martell for taking the video tonight. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna open up for public comment. Please state your name for the record, and then, share us what you wanna share with, so I'll go with the back row first. Anyone in the back row? Everyone else is on the agenda. Okay, I'm gonna close public comment, and I'd like to start off with a, donation, gentlemen.
I can make that motion, I guess.
Okay.
I'll make a motion per RSA 31:95-B, Roman numeral 3, paragraph B, to accept a donation in the amount of $4.95 from Stash and Leaders Opus, in the amount to pay for thermal imaging monocular for the Dunbar Police Department.
Your glasses need to be clean, this is $4.99.
$4.99, I was gonna
What did I
correct them.
say?
$4.95.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll second your motion.
Okay, before we accept that, Chief, what is a thermal imaging monocular for the public?
I know what it is.
It's a binocular is a single tube, and it allows you to, it actually, selects heat, the differences in heat, and, displays it on a screen.
Would it be
A small
helpful in
screen.
like a lost child event?
Lost child, find out if, people that are hidden, or animals that are hidden, or concealed, you can see at night with it, you can see during the daytime with it, you know,
Okay.
through camouflage and things like that. There's kinda endless applications for it.
Excellent, you have one now?
We do.
And so, this is a new one, or?
No, this is the first one we.
Oh, this is,
Yeah.
I'm saying this is the first edition, okay,
Yes.
thank you. Gentlemen, any other discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I just wanna say, Stas, thank you again on behalf of the town of Dunbarton. You continue to do impress us, and, you never told me how to get on that list.
Well, when the chief told me about this, I really thought of this as actually a cost-saving thing for the town. If one of the officers got hurt on the job by not seeing somebody, or actually even our residents not being able to get the proper care, this was a good investment to the town. It's a very valuable tool for them.
Again, I wanna say thank you, and, I kinda, we've seen these on TV with lost children, when they go through, terrain, they can pick up the infrared image, the heat image, heat signature. Yeah? Thank you.
I see a lot of value in that tool.
Okay, appreciate it again, and we've got a copy of that for you. Ashley, is Ashley here yet? Okay, gentlemen, just wanna let you know, Ashley is the young lady who was opening up the coffee shop. She's gonna, get some samples of the signs, but we don't know exactly what she's doing. I'll defer that if she shows up.
Sounds good.
Okay. Next item is the solar, ground solar farm contract.
Yep.
We're all in consensus of signing it, but I think it's a long contract. I looked at it. I'd like to just, sign it next week after maybe the attorney has a chance to look at it from a contract point of view.
I would make a motion to sign the contract for the solar project after review of the attorney.
I'll second your motion, Bill.
I don't think we need a discussion, it's straightforward. Any discussion though, any further?
Nope, I think that was a great presentation, and having our attorney look at it would be
Okay.
And just in case there's something we missed, or,
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward, but the thing is, I'm not a lawyer, and so, it was good with contract law, so I just like to double check that. We can sign that effectively next week. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Lean, if you could email that to the attorney and have her take a look at that. Okay, Michael, how you doing this evening? Mike is on the agenda tonight, we're talking a little, an issue with Kelsey Road again.
Yep,
Mike, talk to me. I have a picture of what went on here.
well, that's not the only issue, that's,
One of, okay,
it's like three things I'd like to address about that. Okay, the first. What time were the plow trucks called out for that storm?
on that particular road, I checked with, Mr. Dave Knowlton to the side of me. He said basically, he has talked to the road agent, he uses his best judgment at the conclusion of the storm. And I have the road agent here, would you concur with that?
Yep.
Direction? And that's what, he told me it was caught out at, what time, not caught out, but you effectively plowed at what time?
I plowed at 6:30.
Okay. But it's based upon the judgment of, the end of the storm essentially, best judgment
Best judgment,
of the
and,
plow driver.
okay, because, I don't know what time, first of all, Kelsey Road was included in the town's, right,
Policy?
policy, thank you, Lee. Policy for snow plowing, Kelsey Road's listed along with Montalona Road, other roads. So that's why it's important to me to know what time the plows are called out. Like Mr. Knoll says, he went by, I call it 6:40, he says 6:30, we'll go with 6:30,
Okay,
okay? Okay, and Mr. Knoll saw me, I was out there with, my brand new snow blower,
for Brandon.
and I didn't feel like fighting my way up the hill with my truck. So I was out there snow blowing Kelsey Road so I could get up the hill,
Okay,
okay? And this is when Mr. Nault went driving past in his plow truck. This snowstorm occurred during the week. People worked. I was scheduled to be in Derry at 7 o'clock in the morning. Of course, with my road unplowed, that didn't happen. My girlfriend, she works. She has to be at work at various times. And that day she didn't have to work, but then again, nobody else in town knows her schedule either. So after the November 15th storm, I thought this problem was all taken care of, that my road would get plowed on a timely basis. This is all, the town and Mr. Nault have won the lawsuit. The road is back to being plowed, supposedly back to being plowed like it used to be. The only reason I'd ever heard for Mr. Nault to be involved with plowing the snow was because the road agent said the town was that Kelsey Road is such a pain in the butt to plow. Well, now it's back to just the way it was. And the road's still not getting plowed in a timely fashion. I don't know what time the plow trucks got called out. What time did the plow trucks get called out there, Mr. Crosby?
I can't remember exactly. I know it was sometime Wednesday morning. I can't remember the exact time.
Okay, you can't remember what happened a couple of days ago. All right, so I can remember. It was snowing pretty good the night before that storm. About 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, I got up, I woke up in front of the TV long enough to take the dogs out to go to the bathroom. By that time, there was a couple inches of snow on the ground. Town policy is, once there's a couple of inches, plow trucks get called out. So, let's say it was 10 o'clock, I'll go with the later time. So by 11 or midnight, the roads were being plowed. Montalona Road was being plowed. All the other roads in town were being plowed. Kelsey Roads remained unplowed. Okay? So the town finally gets down there about 8 o'clock in the morning.
This is the town truck, do the
The
tax.
town truck does it. Mr. Knowles never plowed out either one of the turnarounds,
Correct.
okay? And that's what they left.
Yeah, it
I
doesn't,
did,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
oh, sorry, I was just gonna point out, I did a much better job making a turnaround with me and my shovel than I guess the town does with their, international plow truck.
I would just like to, share this picture with our road agent, and so the thing is, I'm not sure if the plow driver understood exactly what he could and could not do. I think it was plowing eggshells, because he didn't wanna overextend himself.
That could very well be.
Right, but that's why, for this portion here, I like to just share that with the road agent, make sure he communicates that with his staff.
Yeah, well, I thought I communicated it pretty good.
I did too, and so the thing is, it's gotta go from the road agent down to his staff.
Okay,
And so I think, I see that as we can be proactive from here on out, and he'll communicate it down. I think, remember, the thing is, in the past, no one wanted to hurt step on anyone's toes up there, and so I think he may have been overcautious. So
I have a question.
Sure,
Was that the time when you actually talked with Pete, the plow operator, Mike?
no, that was,
When you shoveled your driveway and he couldn't fit in there and he didn't wanna run over your snowbanks and crush the snow that you would so cautiously shovel? Was that the snowstorm we're talking about? When you actually did talk to them? Or is this the most recent?
most recent one.
Ah, okay. I was confused. We were kinda bouncing all over.
No,
the
no, no,
place.
no, but this storm, but just take a look at that, and I just think we just gotta make sure, Pete knows exactly where he can and can't turn around. In fact, you can see where Mike pushed back, remember we were up there, he
Yeah.
pushed back the barriers, which is great.
Yeah.
And so it should have enough room, and so I'll just
Oh, yeah.
share that picture with you, and I look at that as constructive, not negative. Okay, so I'm not pointing fingers or
Alright,
anything.
no, I just was getting a little confused where
No,
we were at.
the thing is, then we'll go from there, but that, we can address. As far as, I'll talk further with Mr. Crosby about, priorities. Again, one thing we haven't done, and I think, Jeff, I'm gonna ask you to help me here, is, let's update our policy, because, Mike refers to a policy, and the thing is, we haven't really replaced it yet, we talked about it.
Yeah,
about-
oh, there's a lot of stuff that's outdated and
Exactly, and I like to get that,
Lee and I talked about it, and then given the
Okay.
time of year with all the stuff she had on her plate at this point in time.
but the thing is,
Yeah.
can we put an effort into doing that?
Yeah, we will.
Okay, and
That's
because
fine.
that would, at least make the first step in the right direction. Because, when you start going off an old policy, yeah, I agree it's outdated, it was probably developed by someone before your time as road agent.
Yeah, that's true.
And so the thing is, you have,
It's pretty effective.
yeah, but you have your own policy, and the thing is, and I want to just implement
Yeah.
how you call them out, time and all that, and, that way, because, Mike, you're not gonna be the first one we plow out, and I'll guarantee
I'm
that.
not expecting that.
Yeah, and-
But if the plow trucks get called out at 11, 12 o'clock at night,
Not waiting
I
hours
would,
later,
I
at
would expect Kelsey Road to be plowed by 5 o'clock in the morning.
least the first plow, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Do they have to go down there and do this super duper cleanup? No.
And,
But they,
and I somewhat agree with you there, I do.
well,
And-
that's what they used to do, Mike.
Okay.
That's what Mr. Van der Bogart used to do, that's what, Alan Sheldon used to do. And they both plowed that route,
Okay,
and it was done like that up until the time that,
Dave, I'm gonna ask you for a reserve comment here, because you're actually involved here, but Bob, do you have any other additions here you wanna add here?
No, I think if you guys can work it out,
Okay,
you know.
okay. Then the third thing is, when the town built what they call a temporary turnaround,
right,
the way I understand it is once the town improves a portion of Class 6 road, it becomes Class 5 road. So why isn't that being plowed out also?
because it's your property, and we do not have permission to go on your property. We're gonna use it for we had temporary permission, as I understand,
No,
last
that's a
year.
town right away. And I've stated that before here in public. And the judge didn't disagree with it. That's part of his, he made no mention, because that's part of my,
Okay, I'd like to go back and look at the agreement that we signed with you. The thing is, I understand we had.
Like the judge stated in there, Kelsey Road never went in front of Mike Guyne's house southerly towards the Goffstown line.
no, that's not what he said.
All right,
You
I'm not,
guys can read it again
All right,
if that's what it
Dave.
says.
Yeah, well, you better read it again.
Dave, let's not get in a debate here over this right now, but, as I recall, when we were turning around there, we requested last year, when I was on the board with Bob, we requested permission to continue using that until the season ended last year. We needed permission from you because it was still your property. Whether it was a right of way or not, it was considered your property. At least that's the perception of the selectmen. And the thing is that as we went forward, in this season, we're trying to see which way, before the lawsuit was settled. And we were saying which way we're gonna go. Well, the thing is, Bob and I both agreed, and I think the road agent chimed in here too, we would have to reinstate that agreement and seek permission from you to use your property for the turnaround.
No. That road was laid out in 1821.
All right, but what you're doing, you're going down the path of the lawsuit, and,
Well, it's what's in town, it's what's in the town records.
okay, so what's the point of the turnaround that you're talking about there? You don't,
Well, the town built it, the town did an excellent job of building it, they put a foot and a half of gravel in there.
right,
So, that's the best part of Kelsey Road. By far, I'll guarantee that. You can get any engineer out there to start taking soil samples. That's the only section that's a foot and a half deep in top grade gravel. So, once the town, and I showed it on my survey, so you look on my survey, I've shown the 1821 layout.
I understand all that, but what's the point we're getting to here?
Well, the point is, whenever I go to subdivide, I'm gonna be claiming that as road frontage. And I don't see why it wouldn't be road frontage, seeing as how the town built it. And once they built it, they'd have an obligation to maintain it.
Well, the thing is, I'm not gonna debate this any further tonight, but the thing is, I was gonna
Okay.
leave you with the one question is, why did the previous boards, when they built the turnaround before my time on the board, why did they have to seek permission from you, and you grant permission? The thing is, this is most recent, this is not in the 1800s, this is most recently. I'll leave you with that question, and,
Because the selectmen asked me to sign that type of an agreement. And when it came up for renewal, I turned it down, and it'll be in the minutes. Why I decided not to sign it, because there's a right of way there. And me signing permission to it makes it sound like I have the right to deny you permission to go on there.
That's,
I do not.
okay, that was, you need to review your email messages with your lawyer, and I'll leave it at that, because there was some discussion last year with your lawyer in the town of how we were gonna use it. And we knew, going into this calendar, the season, we did not have permission, and we did seek permission last season to use that. And we did not use that just willy-nilly claiming it was town property. We sought permission, and through your lawyer, we got permission. And so, please review the emails, and we can discuss this again, but right now, I don't wanna debate it, because we don't have all the facts in front of me, I don't have the facts in front of me where I can give them to you. But I'm certain, but the thing is, I think we can readdress this at a later date, though.
Okay, we can readdress it. So from now on, for snowstorms, is my road gonna get plowed out in a reasonable time?
I would say it would be plowed out in a reasonable time, but the thing is, what's reasonable to you versus someone else? And the thing is, it's not gonna be a priority road as anything other road is.
Oh, I understand that. I understand it's not a main through road. Nobody's traveling from any place else to anywhere else going
Right.
up my road.
And I can assure you, the road agent treats your road, I'd like to think he's gonna treat it no different than any other road. It's a dirt road, and the thing is, it's not on a major thoroughfare. His responsibility is to get the major thoroughfares cleared first.
Okay, and then once they're cleared, you gotta come down all these other
Absolutely.
roads.
Absolutely.
Because I don't see any other residents from, like, let's say Guinea Road or Robert Rogers Road coming up here.
Believe me, the road agent gets even the new roads, brand new roads, paved roads, he gets emails, concerns, when are you coming out to plow my road? You are not alone, he does get complaints, and I think you would affirm with
Okay.
that.
Well, then I'm gonna add this. How many of those residents had their property stolen by the road agent?
No, we're not going down that path, I'm gonna stop you right there, okay? That's-
Okay, well, it's just, it shades the whole thing. then,
No,
Mike.
it doesn't. To me, I think that, when you start making accusations like that is not solving the problem. That's just throwing an arrow at the road agent, and I think that's totally unfair at this hearing right now.
Well,
So I'm gonna cut you off right
I
there.
feel like the way my road gets plowed,
Yes.
that's totally unfair.
Well, the thing is, as I said, I'll talk with the road agent, I don't think, in my opinion, it's not unfair. I think it's because he's got complaints across the town, he does due diligence to plow the entire town, as I said, with priorities going to certain roads. Main thoroughfares, for example. The thing is, for you to throw an arrow at him and say he stole your land, this is not the forum for that.
Well, maybe it might not be the forum. I've had my reputation in these settings run over back and forth.
Not in front of this board.
Well, yeah, I guess maybe you're right there. But it has happened.
The thing is, it may have been previous boards, but the thing is, I can assure you, this guy, because Dave, because of his sort of intimacy with this issue, has always recused himself when it came to issues. Bob and I have always been, shall I say, taken no position here
No
except
position.
no position.
Okay, well, no position so far hasn't been getting the job done.
Well, for plowing roads, the thing is, I have to work closely with the elected official over there, and the thing is, his job is, the thing is, if residents don't like the way he's plowing, they can vote him out of office.
They replace them with who?
Anyone who wants to take it.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
So how many people have lined up looking for that job?
Well, the thing is, there's not many people who are looking for that job, but the thing is, but you gotta be, no one likes snow, and the thing is, this is rural New Hampshire. The thing is, and he can't instantaneously go out and make it magic, make all the snow go away, he can't do
I
that.
understand that, and like I said, he can't remember when you got called out to stop plowing, and I think I made a pretty good case where it was around midnight, and it is about, 66 miles of road that he's responsible for plowing? Okay, 66 miles divided up by 4 trucks. You'd have to plow all the roads in an hour, that'd be a speed of 17 miles an hour? At 2 hours, you would divide, that's 8.5 miles an hour.
All right, which
On and on, I mean, it's just plain math.
you're going down a path, which I am not a subject matter expert on.
Okay, well, this is,
The thing is,
what do I do?
I think for that morning when the principal plow driver for that road saw that the storm was over, he got up, put his plow stuff on, and got his tools together, plowed the driveway, plowed the road.
Okay, so why is Kelsey Road the only road with its own individual plow driver getting paid $100 a storm to show up when it's convenient for?
It's not convenient. It's when he uses his best judgment. Mr. Crosby, can you tell me, did all the roads that even get plowed that night across Dunbarton?
Nothing got plowed that night. They got plowed Wednesday.
Okay. How early?
I can't recall.
But it was, your plows are on the road by, was it still
By
dark?
6:30.
It was still
By
dark?
6:30.
Okay.
By 6:30 they were. I'm quite confident of that.
By 6:30.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident of that.
So because I'd been out there shoveling my driveway, and there was no snow in the air by 6:30. Matter of fact, I was out there at 5:30, and there was no snow in the air. So, I don't know, I guess, I guess I'm stupid. I can't figure this stuff out. I know I can shovel though. I'll guarantee you that. I can shovel
Thing is,
that area out better.
Mike, that was total storm had maybe a accumulation of 5 inches. We send the trucks out too early, it's a waste of resources to send them out too early. And the thing is, if you send them out too late, then then the public gets upset. So it's a judgment call based upon the road agent.
Have you ever been in an argument you couldn't win?
Yes,
I rest my case.
okay.
Yeah,
But-
there's
I don't think I have a solution for you. I really don't. And Bob, if you have a solution, share with me.
My road doesn't get plowed any earlier than some of the.
Well, what time was your road plowed?
Well, probably 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning.
5:30, 6 o'clock, that would've worked well for me.
But that was the main drag he's on. He's on a main road.
Okay, what time was the road plowed in front of your house?
I was still sleeping.
You were still sleeping. Does anybody else wanna chip in? I don't wanna put anybody on the spot.
No, but the thing is, in my heart, I think the road agent does an admirable job. And the thing is, I have no issues with him, and the thing is, I think he tries to meet all the needs of all the residents. I don't think he's picking on Kelsey Road. I don't think he's singling you
No, I
out.
don't think he's picking
But
on
you just-
Kelsey
you-
Road.
you
I think
just
he's
did.
picking on me.
I don't think he is. I really don't think he is.
Well,
And that-
okay,
And that is perception we're gonna differ on.
all right.
And the thing is, now that you brought it up tonight, I'm sure he's gonna make sure it's done right. Now, I see it, now, the one constructor, I wanna go back to this, he'll talk to his road crew about that, make sure it's done correctly. The thing is, but that was, this looks like an incomplete job, and I think they can do a better job.
Oh, I know they can do a better job.
But you gotta realize, there's some history there, and the history,
Oh, I understand there's history there, Mike. I've lived through the history.
okay. And at the same time, if you wanna talk about this in the future, I'd like to, we can meet with you, I can meet with you separately, but I would like to show you the emails about the other turnaround, where permission was granted after we asked for it last season. Through you,
I've never received anyone asking me for permission to turn around last year.
okay, we will look at that, okay?
Last time they did it, Mr. Pike was the chairman. And I told him, no, that I wasn't gonna sign it, as, you know, it was back then, and I told for the reasons that being that right of way's out there, and I can't deny permission, so if
Well,
I
that's-
can't deny it, I really can't
That's where,
extend it either.
that's where we differ, because permission was granted at one point, so we'll leave it at
It
that.
was, yeah, that's what the selectmen at the time wanted, they wanted permission. And I gave it to them so we could move the ball forward.
Okay. Well, that does not impact what we're talking about right now, what we're gonna be plowing. We know we're plowing, we talked about it, we walked the course, and we're gonna continue to do that as we discussed.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
all right.
Oh, just, Mr. Crosby, did you have any last thing to say? I just wanted to offer you an opportunity to say.
I got it.
Okay, again, I just think it was the forum to be throwing sling arrows at you when they're unjustified. Okay. Moving on. Thank you, Dave, for keeping away. Jeff
My
Crosby, come on up. All right, let me guess. You need more money? You can take that with you. You know what it was just yesterday, this earlier this week. It's just a spur here. Remember, he could have done all that. That's what I'm thinking. Take a look at it. see what-
Want us to clean it up more now.
No, 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 that's nothing to do
Stay
with it.
off my property, don't push snow over there, I'm not pushing snow.
That's what I get from it.
When do I able to say I've had enough harassment? When is that gonna happen? I got questions now to ask.
Sure.
I'm sitting in my seat, I'm asking the question.
Sure.
When can I say,
Anything you
Crosby
want.
and the highway department's had too much harassment? When are you guys gonna say that?
Well, the
That's
thing
what
is,
I wanna hear. When are we gonna say, Mike, I wanna get together with you, work this out, Mike?
we did that, and where did we get?
And here we are. You didn't plow it good enough this time.
Well,
You're not gonna win.
you think
You're not gonna win.
But the thing is, I gotta allow him to speak as,
Yep.
The one thing that wasn't brought up is he created the issue himself by putting posts in the town road.
Yeah.
And so he created the problem, didn't want the town to plow it, now he does want the town to plow it, and,
Yep.
you know,
Yeah,
so.
whatever. It's never gonna end. It's gonna be
He
on.
created
all
it.
right, all right. Now,
You
so
know, it's just-
we're moving on.
It gets to the point, he can watch it when he gets home. I really don't care.
You're,
Bad enough.
you're concerned.
I'll
but-
just sit there and be quiet as I can.
No,
Don't
but
ask me any questions, I'd be even more quiet.
no, but the thing is, sometimes, I'm not the subject matter expert.
I'm not either.
And without
Not in
the
this, not in this.
without the documents in front of you with the turnaround, there's no
You can't-
sense,
you-
no sense arguing
Argument,
that
agreement, I
right
agree.
now, so.
That's a whole different issue. Now, what I'd like to talk to is buying a truck. What I'd like to do, or the way it makes most sense to do it, we're gonna break it into two components. We'll buy a cab and chassis from a vendor, and the body and all the plow equipment from another vendor. Cause those two, the two companies, neither of them do the complete job.
Okay.
We could do that, we could call a company and say, hey, listen, put a whole package together, but we're gonna pay more, obviously.
When you put a
because-
package
yeah,
together?
Yeah,
They're gonna mark it up.
yeah, which makes sense, and none of them really wanna do that anyway, they wanna sell you the cab and chassis. Now, I realize we have to get prices, put it out to bid or whatever. Now, how is that all gonna work? Tell me how I've gotta do that.
Lean will help you with the language.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna write some specs, I understand
That's,
that.
that's,
But how many prices we gotta get? What do we gotta get for
thing
prices?
is,
As long as you've done your due diligence to put it out to bid, you only get one response, and that's what you get.
Yeah, but I mean, the dollar value is gonna be up, it's not a $2,500, three, or
No.
$7,500, three quotes
But
on the
we-
phone.
and when I say-
I'd love to do it.
when it goes out to bid, it goes on open market, it's asked to be advertised.
Yep,
And the thing is, you get one person bid on it, no one else bids on it, you've done your due
oh, I'm
diligence.
sure we'll get more, that's all, I just,
Alright,
Now, Jeff, the other thing too is, just like all the contracts come into us, it's not necessarily the lowest contract, it's gonna
Yes.
be the right truck for you. You have to weigh out, some trucks are not gonna have the same options,
yeah.
so you gotta weigh that out on yourself,
Well,
and you
this-
might take, you might not take the lowest
Yeah,
bid.
and the specs will help
Yeah.
eliminate a lot of
Right,
that.
where we
Because certain specs, like the weight of the axles and all that, are
Yeah.
gonna eliminate some of the vendors. There's only 6 major vendors for the trucks.
which is fine, the
Yeah,
thing is,
which is, no, it's good.
but you'll be the subject matter expert, you'll be advising us as far as
Yeah.
your preferences and explain why you want a particular one, and we'll make the final decision.
Okay, now, in the body, it's the same thing, but the unfortunate part with all this, it's like buying a car now. When you go to buy it, you know, you used to be able to say, well, I want the stripped down model, I only want crank windows, I only want this. Those things are all the thing of the past,
Comes in
even in heavy
packages
trucks.
now, yeah.
You know, they got the A package, the B package, you got the electric door windows, which is all good. It's all become more creature comfortable for the people that are in it, and user friendly and all that. It's the way the whole industry has gone, much like the car pickup truck industry. So, I mean, we're running into some of that, which is good and it's bad.
2 questions for you.
Yes,
There was Lean sent some information for you, there's a possibility of obtaining a grant,
It's not the same.
not the
We
same,
looked into it.
okay,
that was to convert existing trucks, you know, like a biofuel.
okay.
from
The
just
second
biodiesel.
question is, are any of these trucks that you're on state contract?
The trouble with the state contract is, it's a very small window with a very, how can I say this without sound like I'm insulting? It's very low specs. The bar is pretty low on the state trucks as far as the weight of the axles. They're not a heavy truck.
Okay,
And they kinda,
so
that's how they managed to get into the lower tier on the prices, because they're cheaper.
They
than-
turn them over more often than.
Yeah,
the
and
other
also,
turn 'em
they,
over.
that's the base price, so you're on the state bid, and then you add things. The state also has a different program. They build and install all their own equipment, so they'll buy a cab and chassis, and they might buy them in blocks of 10 or 15 from a
and
vendor.
modify it from there.
And they take it into their own shop and do all their own retrofitting, which we don't have the capability to do.
What's your time frame?
Realistically, talking with all the vendors, we're up against it. We'll probably, unless we could make a decision in the next couple of weeks, we won't see it probably until 2020.
So time's of the essence.
Well, yes and no. It's not gonna really change a lot of stuff. Unfortunately, due to the economy and the way, and not just the economy, the way the truck industry is and all that, there's no shortage of buyers.
Okay,
So it's not like a buyer's market where
Sure.
we can say, hey, listen, the economy's down, you know, they'll work with, not work with us, but there's incentives to buy them. The prices are what they are. And if the town of Dunbarton doesn't buy one, the town of Ware or Joe's Construction Company is gonna buy a truck. So there's no incentive. Plus, with the way the sales are, a lot of the manufacturers allocate so many vehicles to a dealership. And so, again, there's no shortage.
can I ask another dumb question?
Yep.
What about low mileage used car? Am I someone else's problem?
I don't think that's.
Well, yes
what-
and no. Most of these trucks they buy, you're in a system, like, let's say the town of Boston, but they use that, I'm not exactly sure it is. But they have X number of trucks, and they're in a program where every 10 years, let's say, or 5 years, they rotate trucks out. They take number 2 and rotate it out for a new one. So they're constantly buying, so they're constantly overturned. So there's a spot in there, like anything else, where it has so many miles or so many hours on it. This is where we sell for 2 reasons. One, you avoid the breakdowns, and they get the highest dollar value.
Okay,
We, in the past, as a town, like the one we have now, is 20 years old. We keep them until there's really virtually not much use left.
okay.
So,
I get
You know, I mean,
I'm free, just
yeah.
asking some
no,
dumb
so, a
questions.
good used one, yeah, there's good used ones out there. But
Hit or miss.
we're just as well off running the one we got.
All right, specifications.
If
I
you
think-
get
Well,
me-
I'll give you the
Jeff will
specification.
break that
I'll
down.
Yes,
take
I'm
all
saying,
that. I'm
but
just, I'm
he's gotta
talking
get a timeline.
general numbers here now.
Okay,
So far, what I have found though, is, I think that there's a few options the town should get based on the longevity of how we're gonna keep it in the truck.
okay,
And I have, not sticker shock, but things are just a little bit higher than what I anticipated. I figured probably that's come in pretty close with some, and these are just rough estimates, you can't go to these people and get a fixed price, it's just us guys talking, you know, these are the type of options, roughly what we're gonna spend, and they'll pull up a sheet that they spec'd out for some town, and they'll say, hey, yeah, we built the truck for this town, and it cost $75,000.
Okay.
Cabin chassis, I figured it was around 100, it's gonna be somewhere in there, so I mean, we'll spend all of that 175 I talked about. So, do I have any leeway budgetary wise in my budget? If we said, all right, you know, this is what it comes into, let's say it came in at like, I'm just gonna throw this number out there, I don't even know now, at 180, but we should buy this truck because we're gonna keep it for 20 years, or 25 years, or 15 years, and we think this is gonna be a better value. Am I gonna have any leeway that way,
Of
or?
course you will, because you could buy a lower end truck like you said.
Yeah.
With less specifications, but it might only last you 10 years instead of 20, so I don't think we wanna go down that road.
And the other issue, I'm just bouncing this stuff off you guys, so you know what I'm dealing with, so you got an idea where mentally what I'm working with. Well, we can buy an automatic transmission, which is, they're selling, they claim everybody's buying the automatic transmissions now.
okay.
They become a proven thing, anybody can drive them. The industry again is changing, the workforce is getting younger, and you don't have these experienced guys, drivers, and not to sound glib, but you can throw anybody in and drive it, so to speak. And it's more user friendly, and they're kind of proven to, you know, there's no real issues with many automatics.
Seems to be the way that a lot of people
Yeah,
go.
it is, and, but you can get a standard truck with a clutch and a regular stick shift, just
Right.
like trucks always work, probably $10,000 cheaper.
What's your preference?
I think, and we're talking with Pete, who actually is the operator, and myself, being forward thinking and thinking of the town's future and the longevity of we'll keep it, we should really spend the money for the automatic. Versus,
What
right
kind-
now, all things equal, we'd be happy with a standard.
Well, like you said, for some reason Pete was sick and you had to put somebody else in that
Or
truck.
just if
It'd
he
be easier for
changes
you to find
careers or
somebody else.
retires, I mean, we're talking, he's 50 some odd years old. Let's say he worked here till retirement age, I have no idea what his overall plan is. We could still have that vehicle and we'd have to.
Have there been problems in the past with the automatic transmissions on these trucks?
Years ago they did, but they've got all that ironed out now, they're really, like everything else, they're kind of state of the art. And they, even the sales guys say not everybody, but 90% of their truck orders are automatic transmissions. The fire department has, if not all their trucks, a good number of them are automatics.
Okay.
And-
Well,
So that's what I'm thinking.
What I wouldn't wanna
Yeah.
do is just like buy the automatic transmission and let something else go.
Well, that's where I'm at, when we're talking about money, you know, it's like, oh, there's a list of things that we really should achieve, and that would be one of them, I think, forward thinking, just in case, you know, the way.
Being
that-
forward thinking when you're talking about money, you're talking about money within your budget?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Because we
You're not
could be a
gonna
lot more lenient with you that
You're
way.
not gonna give me a budget? But I'm
I was
just,
waiting for that to come
Yeah.
out.
no, that's what I mean, we're gonna put a number, we have a number for our warrant article, we have a number in our capital reserve fund.
But I think in the past, I think you may have alluded to the fact that, if it goes above, you can absorb a little bit into
Yeah,
your budget.
yeah,
And
exactly.
we'd be flexible and
So
supporting that.
we're gonna
as
have
high
that, you know,
as-
Cause, you know,
Flexibility's gotta be the key, and the thing is, I just hope we get some good competitive bids in.
I think we will. I mean,
Because
I don't see
the
it as
whole,
one.
the whole point of bidding is just whoever wants the business will blow the price to get the business and still make a few
yeah, but
dollars.
like I explained to you in the preface here,
Yeah, there's
they have
no,
enough,
they don't have to worry.
they don't have enough butts
We go
for
to
the
them,
seats.
yeah.
They have enough seats for the butts or whatever. You know, it works out.
Have you been in touch with more than one company?
Yeah,
And you have some preferences already? of the
Yeah.
company? Okay. Again, when it comes down to the, company, with the truck also goes into the service,
Yes.
And you gotta have a reputable company that you have.
I mean, Lean I know what she put International in here, and that's the truck we're replacing.
Yeah,
That's one of the vendors I'm talking with, but not necessarily.
Oh, that's a vendor?
Yeah.
Okay.
International is the brand, like Ford,
Oh,
Chevy, or whatever.
Okay,
That just happens to be the truck.
should I take that out?
Well, we hadn't decided on, we haven't.
oh, I mean, as far as brand name.
Yes.
Oh, I thought that was
exactly.
a type of truck.
Nope,
Do I need to change that? I still have time to change that.
does it just appear here, or does it appear in other
It's
things?
in the warrant article that way.
Oh, no.
We gotta take it out.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah,
how
that's
do,
gotta
what do you,
come out.
what do you need me to, just a
Replacement town,
Plow truck,
you wanna call it a
Dump truck.
six-wheeler, or?
yeah, six-wheel
six-wheel
dump truck,
six-wheel
dump truck,
dump truck?
that'll be it.
Okay. I
Yeah,
will-
no, we haven't picked a brand.
Now, the item will be for the cab and chassis, then it'll be the plow and,
The cab and chassis, that's exactly what it's gonna be, is
Plow,
cab
the
and
dump bed,
chassis.
everything like
Yeah.
that.
Just a frame and a truck with a motor, tires and all that. Then we'll go to I'm gonna refer to as a body company, they
Right.
will install the body and all the plow gears and all,
Way
gear,
if you
wings,
do one.
plow,
Yeah.
pumps, frames.
there's more than one of those out there in the marketplace.
Yeah, there's really three of them.
Okay.
HP Fairfield in Concord, Donovan Spring in Londonderry, and Tenco in Vermont, in Barry, Vermont, which specializes in sander.
Now, I'm gonna ask a dumb question again.
Yeah.
Would it be out of line, since they're not really looking for, they have people coming in through the door? Do we have to encourage them to bid on the, you know, when
Yeah, we
the
usually mail them out to them.
No, I think they'll all submit a bid,
okay,
Yeah.
because that's what they do.
Typically, you just post it like you're supposed to,
Right.
and then you mail out a package to these known
Yeah,
names.
no,
an invitation to bid.
invitation to bid,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, no, we'll be in touch with them.
Okay.
I mean, we won't just.
See, that's the only way, I mean, you're
Yeah.
gonna get the potential of more than one bid.
Yeah, exactly. But again, it's like everything else. Every one of them has a caveat, well, this is a nice feature and a good thing.
So we're gonna use your judgment,
Yeah,
Jeff,
that's
to
what I
see
mean, we
what
got-
features
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
you think we should go with,
Yeah.
and you come to us with a recommendation.
Yeah,
it's like with the solar farm, we relied on subject matter experts.
yeah.
And the thing is, we have some knowledge,
You
but,
say that a lot.
I know,
I don't
but
like
that's
it.
because I'm
I don't
not
like
smart and everything.
No, but anyway, that's the way how this is gonna play out. I mean, there's only really three vendors for that are
Okay.
reputable. And again, what's gonna happen, as soon as town meeting hits the ground, then all the spots start filling up. All the build dates for the trucks fill up,
Right.
the body companies, because as us, that's when the day comes where everybody votes to
Right.
make things happen or not happen.
Well, I guess we can just be proactive in having
Just
everything.
We can get
have
the
it
bid
mailed.
ready to go, hit the
Yeah,
ground.
exactly.
Yeah,
No, that's why I wanna come and talk about
So-
it. Now, there is another option, I don't wanna take a lot more of your
You're
time.
doing fine.
This is option 2 on purchasing this. They do have available lease purchases. We could actually lease purchase the cab and chassis. And that would basically, we'd have to pay a fee every year. Obviously, it has cost, interest and all that. I don't know exactly how it's structured. I do know the town has taken advantage of that in the past, at least with the fire department. They may have done it with a Mack roll-off truck, but I can't really.
Didn't we do
vouch for
some police cars a couple of years too?
yeah, but I mean, I'm talking with a large vehicle
Right.
one. It is an alternative to do it. And sometimes a town now will look at that because it can say, all right, instead of taking X number of dollars and putting it in your capital reserve fund, until you've built up enough money, you
Mhm.
take that dollar amount and it's matched to the lease, and then you raise that and appropriate to pay that lease payment. And then you have like instant gratification, you don't have to worry 4 or 5 years. I mean, we're in a position we could go either way.
Yeah, long-term is that, at least I thought would always be a losing proposition.
With the equipment and heavy trucks, they have a deal where you lease it for so much a year, or you can break it down in 12 payments, 6 payments, whatever.
Okay,
You know, there's finance charges, they make money, obviously.
Maybe Jeff, not to
And then,
shop it.
and you buy it out for $1 at the end and you own it. But all those attachments that we put to it would then become part of the truck, and if something happened, like the town went bankrupt or whatever, and you didn't put me in our obligations, technically, they could take the truck. I mean, the chances of that are.
We're a pretty solvent town to go bankrupt.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, all as that would be a creative way to, like a shell game with the numbers.
Right.
That we wouldn't zero out our capital reserve.
Do you wanna look at that?
I don't know, is that an option that we even wanna
Well,
talk
maybe.
about, or I,
Do we have to decide that on the warrant though?
no, that's what I was wondering, that's why I wanted to bring it up.
I think we should leave the warrant as it is, and maybe look at that option only
After the fact.
for another vehicle or after the fact.
That's fine.
Because
Yeah,
you have the warrant article stand on its own to take
Yep.
care of it this year, and maybe run that by us so we, maybe
Yeah.
just with one vendor, so we can kinda see what that would cost. Because you may be able to, with a lease program, upgrade a vehicle like that every 10 years instead of waiting out the full 20,
Yeah.
and have an updated vehicle
The-
more often.
the theory is where it works the best, is a town that is taking and putting money in the capital reserve fund every year. Because instead of, basically, you think about, instead of putting that same amount in the capital reserve fund, you just raise and prorate and put it in a lease payment. So instead of waiting a number of years to
Right.
accumulate enough money, you get it right off. But, I mean, we could do it either way, the only advantage that I could see if we went this way is, we do it with the cabin chassis, and then we take the money out of the capital reserve to pay for the body, so we wouldn't zero out the capital reserve.
Right, over 20 years, this truck, if you do the math, is gonna cost us, whatever, 17,000 a year.
Yeah, or, yeah, 20, whatever it is, yeah.
So, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, if you looked at a lease option and you could do it for 10 or 12, then that's something you obviously could look at. Maybe not even for this truck, but the next truck too.
Yeah, there's no advantage other than cash for a town to do it. And I know a lot of smaller towns have done it with the heavy equipment, because it's, again, it's, $250,000, $300,000 road grader, that's a huge nut.
What
So
happens, let's say it breaks down the road 8 years into it?
It's the town's responsibility to repair it.
Gotcha.
All those
Yeah, gotcha.
registration, expenses are all the town.
But
It's
what-
just a creative way to finance it.
Gotcha.
One thing in our favor is we don't put a lot of miles on it, it's just used
No.
over 20 years, but
Yeah.
our miles are fairly low.
Yeah, exactly.
So we wouldn't hit the mileage cap most likely.
Yeah, I don't even know if they, I don't know how that works. I didn't even ask that question. I just asked the question.
Well, I'm in consensus with my
Yeah.
colleagues here that we look at that down the road.
Yeah, and we'll go with our plan we got now, which is fine. That's great. I just wanted to throw
But
it
it would
out.
be good knowledge to know,
Yeah.
what it would be yearly for a truck that, like that,
Yeah, cause at some point, we may have to expand the highway department,
right?
you know.
Gotcha.
and that way- So that's where I'm at with it. I got some good information, but, I'll get some more, we'll get some more numbers together and all that, but that's what we're looking for. We're gonna have a minimum of 3 competitive bids for
Good.
each.
But I think the key thing is to have them ready, so as soon as that warrant is approved, you can execute it the next
Yes.
Monday morning.
It's one thing, I know we waited a little while on the town transfer station truck, and I think that worked against them pretty hard, I think. 'Cause
Yeah.
we're-
Well, that's what I was, of course, I'm trying to pick a salesman's brain about costs.
Right.
You see any costs coming down the road, and, the hands are pretty well tied.
They're all getting increases.
This year, for right now, as far as they know, everything being equal, they don't see any large cost increases. They can't guarantee anything on what 2020 is gonna bring,
Well, once you
because they
sign-
haven't even let them start ordering 2020.
Once you get a signed contract, then they're gonna be
Yeah,
out.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is in the next, several months, they don't see any large increase, and that was what I was kinda concerned with.
Well, the economy's supposed to be turning, going a little more flat this year.
Yeah, it
So-
may be.
It may be going flatter, but all of our vendors at my office are giving 5 to 7% increases this spring. And they're coming up every month, we're getting more and more of them, and it's amazing, cause like you said, the economy is gonna go flatter this
Trying to
year,
get
I
the
think.
price up before it hits it. But that's why I was curious with how the truck industry was, if they were running it, but the prices, whatever they got. But the problem is, there's only so many build dates, so many slots to fill.
Gotcha.
So they're getting filled up fairly quickly, again, because of the allocations of how many trucks dealers are allowed to buy.
I hope you got your answer, you get some flexibility in the
Yeah,
price.
I got my answer.
And I like I'm gonna sum up I like what you said about, sometimes you can't have, you don't find a solution sometimes for Kelsey Road, I appreciate that. But if you look into that just a little bit, I appreciate that. And I wanna say thank you for participating in the neighborhood watch with me,
Oh, that was funny.
and answering me.
I was busted over the weekend.
Well, the thing is,
One of the selectmen caught me.
he was working a little extra hours this weekend, which is good, thank you.
We had a little washout last Thursday on Gorham Pond Road,
Oh,
and I was taking a bucket of stone down there to fill in the side of the road where it washed out on Saturday. And one of the alert neighbors saw a a bucket loader backhoe go by his house with material, and I thought he was coming up to the highway garage and getting sand. And alerted me that I might wanna know that, put an end to that. It was Mike. And I said, well, it was me, Mike. I'm the guilty one. So he was,
Take it back a little bit.
yeah, I thought it was pretty good. But,
Hey, while we're all here, in reference to the turnaround at the end of Kelsey Road, remember after the judge's findings on that, he made that a public right-of-way road, and that turnaround cannot be changed to the other location. It wouldn't matter if you plowed out the other turnaround, you'd still have to plow the one in front of the barn, so just wanna make sure that everybody's on
And,
the same page to that.
just to let you know that, Jeff and I walked the path with, around the barn with Mr. Guiney, and that's what, we're going by what the court decided. That's what, we're not changing in favor of the
we
court.
told Mike that too, and he didn't, at that point, he didn't seem to have any issues with it. But this is,
Well, I just wanted to make sure that nobody goes back to the other turnaround, because we cannot give up the public's rights to that turnaround.
No,
Not as selectmen, not as townspeople, nothing, so.
no, we're going by the court, so just, we're fine there. I think we're in agreement there. Bob, any comments?
No,
Okay.
that's what we had decided anyhow, so.
alright,
Thank you, Jeff.
well, thanks for your time, and that helps me out a little bit, I got a definite direction now.
Yeah. Okay.
take that with me?
Yeah, that's for you, please, and just,
Mike,
cheer.
the reuse that's not here?
I say again?
The reuse
Yes,
stuff
You're
here?
gonna go over that with Pete, I guess?
Yeah. Well, for what, just to make a corrective action on that. I think Pete was being a little more conservative.
Reprimand him? or
No,
what do you
he,
want me to do?
he was being a little more
Make
conservative.
him stay after school?
Like you say, everybody down there is conservative now, cause there was posts and there's no posts, and you're not supposed to plow, you are supposed to plow, so.
We
You
don't,
can't hold it against Pete for not.
I'm not holding it
no,
against
no,
Pete.
and in fact, I think Pete was being a little more conservative, I agree.
I
Yeah,
do know that one of those first storms, when Pete went down there, Mike had shoveled it, and Pete didn't wanna turn around in there, cause he was gonna run all over the snowbanks, and he shoveled out there, and him and Mike
Right,
had a discussion about it.
right.
But we walked after that snowstorm.
Okay, that's all, I thought.
I think Pete's been Larry since
Yeah, definitely.
that.
Can you stick around? Wait, I've got the reuse, they've got the reuse to talk to, but there's also another subject.
Ashley, are you here? Come on up.
Yeah, sure. Am I in trouble, or?
No?
No, no, no.
good.
You can hang that in your building, you can hang that picture up in the building now.
Surprised you didn't tell him on your road.
I'm not complaining.
Mike Cagney.
I thought it'd be Ashley, not you.
Nah, she's with the kid.
Okay, I stand corrected.
One of them's sick. So,
Good thing,
Grace
right?
wants, she always wants mom more than dad, so
How are you doing tonight? How's the project going?
It's going.
Good.
it's going like everything else, you know?
We get updated via the building department, we get a weekly report from the building department.
Monthly, I think.
Monthly, excuse me.
I'm Dave Knoll, one of your selectmen, by the way, I haven't met you yet.
Justin,
Good to meet you,
nice to
Justin.
meet you. Have fun with my
Bob Martel.
Nice to meet you.
Just, you know.
I do.
Okay. So tell us what you got about signs.
So this would be the temporary sign that we'd like to, put on, like Route 13 on this side where our main road is. And then, we have 3 permanent signs that we're gonna go for. They look exactly like this. They're a little bit bigger. My wife said, link to,
Yeah, I printed
Perfect.
them for
Those are the ones you
guys.
talked in front of the planning board, the same?
yes,
Yeah.
same everything,
Yeah.
nothing's changed.
Okay, this is the new thing you were talking about.
Yes, this is the new version.
I just wanna point out to my fellow selectmen, that we do allow, the curio shop to put up an A-frame sign.
I think the church puts
And
one
the
up.
church puts
also.
one up too, and,
And then other events, town
Other
events, but
yeah. My only concern is this would be only put up during operating hours,
Okay,
and have to be removed at the
Yeah.
closed business.
yeah, we won't let these hang around anyway.
Yeah,
We just wanna tell people that we're open at these times and
yeah.
remove
Have
them.
hours down there, so.
Yes, on the bottom.
So that's, in placement, the thing is exact placement, where are you wanting to propose it?
I guess I'm reaching out more towards you guys. I don't know the perimeters that we have to be in.
I'll leave it to my colleagues here. Obviously, you want something close that it would, have people would have attention to it. You know how the curio shop puts it up on the opposite side of the street, on the curio shop, so they can get some attention, they take it down at the end of the day.
Have you read through our sign regulations at all?
No, my wife probably has many times, but
Okay, well, we'll make sure to give you a copy too. So you can have them to read through. I particularly don't think we're gonna have a bunch of businesses competing with, you know, wanting to put a sign out there, cause we obviously don't have a bunch of businesses like that, so I don't have a real issue with it. And I'd like people to know that there is a coffee shop and cafe available to them here. So, I don't have a real issue with it. I have not read this in quite a while, and I'd like to reread it and just double check to make sure that,
So the three sizes they're proposing are right there, Dave? And I
Yeah.
just put the dimensions underneath there.
Those are the three
It's the
permanent
same
ones?
picture, but it's a different size, and they're all less than,
And the ordinance says, it's gotta be less than 26 by, it's a 6x4, it's 24 square feet. So
I
they're
was
all,
amazed when I just read that.
it's huge.
Big sign.
That is
It
a
is a
large
big
sign.
sign.
And when we called and had the estimate for it, everyone was amazed how big that could be.
And the thing is, the biggest thing is this can't be in a right of way where it blocks someone's entrance and visibility wise. And that's the whole thing. And so I'm thinking off the top of my head, I'm gonna throw out an idea and chime in, not on this side of the street, but the opposite side of the street in the corner.
I don't think we can give permission on somebody else.
No, on town property.
Oh, across this street.
Yes,
right
across the
here.
street right in front of it, yeah.
Yeah, I think either there or in the triangle, whichever you.
Triangle would be all right too. Well, you wanna chime in there?
Do you have any issue with the triangle there, Lean?
I don't know,
blocking
people
in?
pull out both sides, would it
Right,
be in
in
line
the
of
center of the
sight?
triangle. I don't think that's tall enough to really bother it.
I was thinking just on the corner, where almost the dead tree was. Jeff, any suggestions from the road agent's point of view?
Oh, it's effective.
Yeah.
As long as
I
they don't
think it-
start coming to
I
this
think
door, expect coffee
what,
and donuts.
I'm sure that they would be flexible too, is if we got complaints as to where it was and it was causing a line of sight problems, that we could communicate that to you and say,
Yeah,
hey, you
Tell
might
us
wanna
what you
try
want.
someplace
The
else.
one nice thing about that, in the triangle there, if you're going to the right, it shouldn't affect you too much, cause you should be able to pull beyond it, and if you're
Yeah.
going to the left, you're not gonna.
You'd be downhill though.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that the
Yeah.
triangle is.
We could start at the triangle initially.
Okay,
And
yeah,
if
if
that
there's
doesn't
ever an
work
issue, just let us
across
know.
the
Yeah,
street.
we would just keep open communications.
Yeah,
I hadn't read through all these to see if there's anything about being on town property, have you, Mike?
Well, the thing is, it's, we're gonna permit that,
It's not really town, it's public.
it's public, yeah, but
It's kinda like the parking area. It's public. Right, Mike?
paragraph H.
You're not planning on having more than 3 of them?
Well, he's got the ones that are approved by the planning board on the property itself.
and that's what those examples were? that
Yes.
she sent us?
Yep,
These are the ones for the beyond the property itself. My only recommendation, you need a temporary red arrow pointing this way towards your building.
yeah, maybe just move right up top.
That's just an idea.
No, yeah, you're right, cause people are looking.
Because Lean will be saying, we'll go to town on Lean and say, where's my, I have to order a coffee now?
Yeah,
Load it on my phone.
Keep driving.
Jim, you find any comments?
I'm not too sure about the triangle, so I gotta think it out.
Okay. Well, as I said, we could try it for a month or a couple weeks and see if it works, and if it doesn't work, I think they're gonna be very amenable, just move it on the opposite corner.
thank you, let us know, we don't wanna cause any hazards to anyone.
I tell you, when it opens, why don't you just put it on the triangle, I make a proposal, we let them put it on the triangle for the first week or two, and we'll just see how it works. And the thing is, we give them some feedback from the selectmen. Oh, you
Yeah,
want,
and I don't know, and how are you gonna have an indication as to where your farm, I know you'll have a sign up here.
Yeah, we'll have a sign there, and then there's a sign on, there's
You'll have
already
one in
existing
front.
sign, yeah, in front. That one will have an arrow, and then we're having another one that is on the grounds facing the cafe, and there's gonna be one on the cafe, so almost like a, kind of,
follow the path.
yeah, as much as we can.
Yeah, well, you can try it if you want.
Okay, and the thing is just, I just, for the record, we're flexible as far as if it doesn't work out, we'll just find another location.
Yes, of course.
I don't have any issue with it.
I think we have consensus. Well, we have consensus, I don't think we have to vote on it, we have consensus. But the thing is, Lean, there's some, we should probably write up some sort of permit here, or have we done that in the past for,
I think we have, there's one on 77 that did that little carpentry thing, that's a permanent sign. he had, I forget the name, it's not far from the transfer station on the left. There's
Can
like-
you pull that out and let's read through
we can
that?
probably
Yeah,
do
double
that.
check.
We might to make it official, we may have a
We
small.
may make a motion and, do a small, permit for you, it's supposed to be issued yearly, it looks like by the selectmen.
Yeah.
So we'll read a little bit into that and let you know within a couple of weeks, that sound good, guys?
Yep, but 2 weeks, we'll let you know. How soon you gonna open?
Well, our special machine's down right now, so,
You have at least 2 weeks?
yeah, we have a specialist going through it right now, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't see any issues with where you wanna put it, and
Because,
if you're amendable to moving it if we have complaints.
Of course.
yeah,
You know, if the snow builds up too much there, it may wanna go in the other side anyway, so.
yeah, that's true. Okay,
I got, estimate for the paving. And the bond check for it.
okay, no, not to the planning board, goes to the,
Building
Don.
department?
Yes, you can give it to Lean, and Lean can pass it to Donna.
Okay,
The check's right behind it.
is that what
Where's
they're-
that being paid,
The apron is gotta be paved, and a little bit, it's gotta be enlarged and paved.
Yeah, wind and pave. It's gonna be wind on Tuesday,
Oh, okay, good.
so.
I saw some emails saying it was tough getting in there just to widen it.
Yeah, Mr. Nichols is, gonna be doing the winding, but he's had some problems with his plow trucking.
And the thing is, pavement will be done in the spring. What he does, he's put some money down as a deposit, so to make sure it gets done, and it's his money, it's gonna return to him when he completes the project in when the weather permits.
It's a bond,
Yeah.
surety bond.
This check is for $660 and the estimated amount is $600, or was that written wrong?
10%.
No, I understand, but this estimate only says $600.
Right, it's supposed to be 10%
10%.
above the
Above
estimate.
Okay, it's all the paving's only gonna cost $600?
That's it. Cause it's in the spring, we're getting quotes of like 3,000, cause it's a winter mix, I guess? But now, cause it's in the spring,
Okay,
have you ever roll right?
Yeah.
You like them?
Yeah, they do a fine job. Yeah, no. When you get the planning board meeting those numbers, they're just crazy.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it, I was like, that little,
When
I
we
mean,
were talking about it, that's
pavement?
why we kinda got off track of the planning, like now, and kinda got on a little tangent, we're like, that's what.
Yeah, there's bananas, when you told me.
No, that's good. That's
That
all
was
good.
a
That's
requirement of the
what it
planning
is.
board. They put it, Bob, that was a
That's
requirement
what
of
I
the
thought
planning
it
board.
was, yep.
They put up a small bond payment to assure it's done in the springtime. They said they could wait, he is gonna widen it for opening, but it could be frozen ground until spring.
Yeah, the season was against it for pavement, so the
did the
planning
planning
board.
board impose an expiration, is it the standard bond expiration? I guess I can ask Donna.
I don't remember we even talked about an expiration, I was kinda,
Okay.
it was
Alright.
kinda loose and it was gets messed up.
Because we have to write paperwork for the treasurer to deposit that.
Yeah,
I would
and the
coordinate that with
selectman's
Donna.
office, yeah, the selectman's office is the keeper of the money, administrators or whatever.
Anything else?
Yeah, the sign that's gonna go on, the ground facing the cafe, for line of sight wise for cars, is there a rule of thumb I should shoot for?
The one that's on the ground facing the.
Yeah, so if you're looking at the cafe right now, it's not the one that's secured to the building itself, it's the one
Is that
that's.
standalone in front?
Yes,
Well, so when you come out to the end of your driveway to make right or left, so it doesn't, it's not interfering with your sight line.
okay,
You can follow what I'm getting at. I don't know where you're thinking of putting it, but I'm assuming 15 feet maybe off the edge of the road, I don't know.
okay.
Follow
I
what I'm
should-
getting at?
Yeah,
So
I
you
should
could
know if there's a
come,
rule of
basically,
thumb.
so you come to the end of your driveway, look left or look right, and not have
Have
that
a sign.
sign obstructing your view.
Yeah, no problem,
That's all. I mean,
okay,
I don't think it'd have to be too far off the road. You
Yeah.
don't have a lot of room to worry, be on the house if it's too far.
right, 15 feet, I'm almost there.
Yeah, that's why I just
agree
threw
with you.
15 out there, cause I had to say something.
Yeah,
But I think you can figure it out.
yeah,
Yep.
Okay,
that's it.
Justin, have a great evening.
Excellent,
Thank you for coming in.
thank you for your time, gentlemen, nice meeting you.
But a red arrow is needed.
Yeah, it is, yeah, it is, don't tell Ashley, there'll be more work for me.
Well, you get one of those stick-on ones that you can use temporarily.
I have to, that's to match that, she'll go bananas.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
Yep.
See you.
Nice to see you.
Okay, Linda Landry next. Thank you, Jeff. I think that's, what, you wanted him to stick around for that part?
No, it's the flower, or the,
When we get down to this,
Okay. You wanna take care of that now?
well, Linda Landry's.
Okay.
Take care of Linda.
Linda, come on. Well, I'm just trying to keep things
No,
moving.
It's all right, finish with Jeff.
no, go ahead, come on.
Come on up. We're gonna, Dave gets mad at me if I go too much out of order. I've learned.
It just had nothing to do anyway.
I was trying to keep things moving here, that's all. Linda, you're up again.
All right, so last week when I talked to you folks about the deputy position, I had said at the end that if it was all right with you, I would just go and tweak the numbers, because I had done more research on supporting my case than actually looking at the numbers. So I did go back and look at the numbers. In your dialogue from your workshop, you had said you were going to go with the, reduce the deputy budget line to cover the payroll, 2% increase for 12 hours a week with the buffer of $22.50. So 12 hours a week for 52 weeks is 624 hours, brings you to $9,709. I'm sorry, I only made one copy. I didn't want to waste all the paper. So that takes care of the 12 hours. And I looked at everything else that I would need for coverage, the general coverage for vacation, workshops, conference. I had a 3-day conference I attend with the town clerk, recertification, there's one election. It came up to there were additional hours besides the 12 hours a week. So to bring it up to what the standard would be an additional $488. And those other things are things I factor in every year for the deputy, a certain number of hours for elections. 1 year I got called to jury duty, there are just unexpected things that happen, so I put that buffer in there for things like that. They don't schedule workshops a year in advance, so I never know when other workshops are coming up that I might need to attend. So that was it, I just did a little tweaking and wanted to pass that number on to you.
I don't have a big issue with it, it's not much different, I guess. So you kept the hours, the same hours that we had talked about.
Right, well, that's 624, I've got years' worth of deputy budgets at 12 hours a week, and 12 times 52 is 624 every single year. But those other things are also part of what the coverage is required.
When you say less appropriations, that's what we agreed to in that meeting?
Right, you had agreed
On that line item.
Right, you had agreed to 11,960.
What about that extra you had in there? Was that included extra you have in there?
No, it doesn't.
Then I don't think, I think we're almost spot on then.
It doesn't include that $2,200 line item that,
Yeah, the total amount is 11 something.
oh, the 11 something includes
The
the
11,960,
2,200?
I thought included that.
Oh, I
It does,
Okay.
yeah, it
Yeah.
does,
You're
because
spot-
this,
you're just
the
spot on.
9,000 is for just
So it
12
doesn't.
hours.
Right.
It does.
Right, the 9,000 is just.
Yeah, the 11.9
Right,
does.
it does,
Yeah.
this one doesn't, this one does.
So what she's asking, do we want to increase it by that so that all her numbers line up with that? Do we want to increase it by the 488? And just have it all.
Is that what
line
you're
up?
asking?
Yes. Yes, that was what I was asking.
I don't have a big issue with it if it makes everything accurate to the 12 hours with all the other items that you have on there.
Alright, and the extra 30, that's a buffer, like I said. I got called for jury duty 1 year. There are workshops that Secretary of State has on occasion, and they're just not scheduled a year in advance, so you can budget for them. So that's my, cover all of that. And sometimes, a lot of times that would just get returned to the town. Obviously, if they don't have a lot of extra workshops this year, then I won't need Hope to cover for that.
Although you probably could shift her hours onto some of that time that you're gonna be gone.
For vacation, I do. Actually, on the vacation.
Well, and even these other,
See.
these,
Unfortunately, she also has a set schedule, so it's not really fair to her to say, well, can you come in Tuesday or Wednesday this week instead of Tuesday, because she has other commitments she has. So to just keep shifting her, like for that, I wouldn't shift her unless I absolutely had to, but, kinda wanna make it worth her while to shift too, because if she's coming in here, she's got something else she's doing that she gets paid for. You know what I mean, it's,
So you're asking her to be available for, when you go on vacation, for 36, for a full 40 hours for the week?
correct, so I don't have to close. People don't like it when I'm closed.
But are you here full 40 hours a week? Manning the desk 40 hours a week? No. Are
The
you?
desk doesn't get manned 40 hours a week, but part of that 40 that I work is I go to the bank, I go to the post office, I go to FedEx, I do some
Correct,
stuff
so-
at home, correct. She may not do, she, I think, left here at 8:30 tonight, now we close at 7. She does stuff, we do stuff after we pull the curtain down.
No, my question I'm asking the board, the thing is, do we have, I mean, right now, the normal working week, it's not the board, the window's not open 40 hours a week, does it have to be open 40 hours a week when she's on vacation? I figured when you're on vacation, you can always get by with a fewer hours. I mean, at least it's open during the week, but does it have to be open during the entire, for the full 40-hour work week? I would say not. Look at those hours again. Because Linda does have to close periodically when she has gotta go to the bank, when she goes out, and those people come in here and the place is closed.
No, when I go to the bank, I go, after I leave here, I go to the bank.
Okay.
When I leave this
Well,
building.
it does only show 28 hours a week.
No, but you add the 12 onto it and it's 40.
Right, it brings it up to 40.
Oh,
Because she's going to be by herself.
well, you caught me there.
I don't want to shortchange anybody. She might wind up getting out earlier than that, and it'd be great. We can turn that money back to the town. But when I'm on vacation, she has to go to the bank. She has to do those errands. She might need to go to DMV after work.
What is the hourly rate on the deputy?
I think what, 15,
15.56.
56.
So it's 31 and a half hours or so. 31.3 hours, the 488, that's what I was looking at, how many
Okay.
hours more it was, or 30 hours more.
I don't know. I wanted to see how this would work this year, or what we had given you. Some of that is managing hours and I guess moving them around. I know it doesn't sound like a lot of money, but,
I'm just trying not to go over budget is why I said I wanted to tweak the numbers. I mean, I've got years worth here, and it's always looking for the extra coverage for the conference, the workshops, and whatever. If it doesn't get used, it just goes back to the town. But I don't
So
want to
you're
go
gonna,
over budget.
you're gonna assure me that the thing is, workshops, training, and illness, that line of 30 hours will use exclusively for that, and will not plus our hours up beyond 12 on a regular basis for routine hours. Let's say it's November in this next year, and you didn't have any illness, you didn't have any training, and you didn't have any workshops.
Right.
You're sitting on this pile of money. Oh, Hope, I'm gonna give you, I have all this money in my budget, I'm gonna shift my
Absolutely
hours.
not.
Those are
that is strictly for that purpose.
That's what
That is-
I wanna
that
be
is-
assured of. That's the question I'm asking.
And you should never have to ask me for that. That is strictly for that purpose.
Okay, that's all I wanted to
Right.
get
I
clarification
would-
on.
yeah.
Okay, good.
I don't think it's.
so those would be
a lot of money.
dedicated
I'm
hours
okay
to
with
those
changing it.
specific functions, correct?
Correct. They always have been.
I'm good with it then, Bob, if it's just for
Yeah.
those functions.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with 488.
Can I make a recommendation?
Go ahead.
Move 500 from one line to another, right now,
From
like
what
out of our supplies or something,
Oh,
because my numbers are pretty concrete right now.
With the
I
DRA.
can go back in there and make some adjustments, but if I move 500 from
We
office
moved something
supplies.
from office.
No, we're moving, this
supplies.
is not, in other words, we're
That's
giving you
not
500.
you, that's, we're working
No, I
with this.
get that.
But you
Same
move
money
it,
as-
move it from that copy or maintenance, I think we have a little bit of fluff in there.
Usually we go over on that, but that's all right.
Okay.
It's, well, we're just,
Copier may or may not
Buy a
become
truck.
out of the towns, and
Buy a truck? Some fluff?
not that much fun.
We'll give you $488 fluff for the truck.
It's all right. Lean, take it.
Lean, could you look at that copier line, remember, some of those we're gonna end up owning, and there's a little bit of money in there, I think, too.
We can put kind of a copy as a maintenance.
You okay with that, Linda?
What's that?
If we move it from one of the other lines?
Well, it doesn't matter, because we're just giving you the money you requested.
Right.
And
I
in the day,
just-
it's just us working.
I don't go over budget, and it's like it'd be like bouncing a check, I just can't do it, and I just wanna make sure that there's a reasonable amount in there, and if you had seen my deputy budgets from years prior,
Sure.
So you kept her late, but you're actually not paying her for it? No,
Well, you're a mean
pretty
boss.
much, pretty much, no, I just don't
There's a
wanna
law for
go,
that.
I don't wanna go over. I always wanna make sure that there is, and it's not fluff, I just wanna make sure that there is a buffer, so that if something comes up,
You
that
know,
it's covered.
as long as that money's dedicated for those items, so we can evaluate everything at the end of the year. And you can say, yeah, she had to serve this time, here, so,
No, I
know,
understand
so
what
we
you're
can-
asking, but now, Lean, have I ever used every single penny in my deputy line?
they've never
They've
lasted
just-
long enough. I'm serious, they haven't lasted long enough.
But when they have
It's,
lasted, no, but when they have lasted, I have never used it all. I mean,
That's good deputy
the
review
buffer
right
is there, the buffer is there strictly so that I don't go over.
Okay, we're in consensus here across the board, we all agree.
and so we'll just move it from one of the other lines, whatever you feel best.
Thank you.
Be done with that.
I'll do that.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay.
And on another note, are you getting ready for public comment again?
No, we're all done for the night.
No, we public
Oh,
comment
you're
coming,
opening, cutting it now, going? I did want.
but you can make, go ahead
it's
and
got
make a
your
comment.
mailbox on
I
it.
got mailbox next. but-
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make a comment. Saturday, I went to the transfer station with my truckload of mostly recyclables, because I'm a recycler. And to my dismay, the recycling center was closed. And I just want to put out kudos to Woody and Sherry. In spite of having so many people sick, they improvised and they set up like a mini recycling center right at the baler so that they could continue to serve the public. And I just thought that was so commendable, and I just wanted you guys to know what a great job they did, because if I had to throw my recyclables that I painstakingly separate and clean up and everything, if I had to throw them in the baler, I would have been so disheartened. So people in town who recycle, I can just imagine really
You know,
appreciated
it's,
that.
it's funny, cause that's an idea that was brought to them before, right? To put containers out, so that like if you're recycling plastic or glass or steel, well, not so much the glass, cause we have a concern, but with the steel
right.
or the aluminum and the plastic, we asked if they put that out there, so you'd have the line moving along quicker and they'd have less to do. So it's kinda nice to hear that at least they're
It worked.
attempting to use some of it to make it easier,
It
you
did,
know?
and
That's funny, they sent me home with mine.
They didn't.
Yes, they did.
When did you get there?
I don't know,
Were
but
they-
they asked me,
were
they
they
told me I
full?
couldn't leave them.
Let's not like you.
I guess not.
No, they were getting overwhelmed. They were
I was
getting-
gonna
There was
think,
no one there.
it was Woody and
I
Sherry.
was the only one there, and there was Woody and the girl that works with them.
No,
Did
but
they
I
have
think,
any
did you go early,
containers?
cause maybe they come up with that idea
No, it was
afterwards?
like, early, I don't know, 10:30.
Oh, so not that.
It was unfortunate circumstances, several people called in ill, and the original proposal was to close the transfer station, and that was being bantered back and forth by the station manager, and we made a decision to close the recycling center and just made mainstream trash. And the choice was, if you wanna throw it in mainstream trash, go for it. If you wanna come back next week, you can recycle next week. The choice was made to the individual. This is the direction I gave Mr. Woody.
Yeah, I was told to take it home,
Well, you could have dumped it in regular trash though.
but I was told to take it home.
That was incorrect information.
And I didn't argue, and I wasn't angry or anything, but now I hear that other people got the recyclers, and they didn't have to bring it back home, but I had to.
Well, you could have taken it in mainstream trash. That's
And no
the,
one gave me that option.
you were not given correct information. We gotta follow up on that. So,
Alright, so thank you, I just
Okay,
wanted to
no,
say
it's-
what a
it's-
great job they did, and
unfortunately,
Makes
just
sense to
as a
that.
side note to that too, we're looking seriously at, it's costing us more dollars to recycle because there's no markets we have to pay people to take the stuff rather than give us stuff. And so we're now looking at the possibility of not recycling because it's ending up going in mainstream trash anyways. And we're kinda like spinning our wheels to separate it, and it ends up in the ocean sometimes
You
too.
need to correct yourself.
Yeah.
Plastics and glass have no market, absolutely no market. Aluminum, they still get something, cardboard,
Right.
they're making money on. And steel is minimal, but at least you can recycle, but plastic, the companies that are buying it, I don't know if you saw it, it was on Channel 4, but it was on PBS also. The same scientist that's doing this. Companies that are buying it are situated near rivers, and the plastic they don't need, they throw in the river, it ends up in the ocean, and it doesn't matter where you go on this continent, or, you know, on the earth, there's gonna be plastics, whether it's the Antarctic, or the Arctic, or any little islands, one thing you're gonna see is plastic, it's floating in the ocean, it breaks down, fish eat it, and the scientists have said that there'll be more plastic in the ocean in the next 10 years than there are fish. It's kinda unusual, you know,
Yeah.
but there's no market for it, so they get it for next to nothing, they don't mind buying a ton and picking through and taking what they want and discarding the rest.
Well, ideally, really, and it's just not gonna happen in my lifetime, but people need to be educated on the reduce. I mean,
I
there
thought
are
you
the
were gonna
three,
say you weren't.
reduce, reuse,
Yeah.
recycle, and it's not just the recycling, people buy all that plastic, and plastic is the biggest thing, it's mostly what I have. Everything you buy comes in plastic.
Yeah.
You know, I try to buy the big gallon jugs as opposed to the little mini bottles of water, because that's one way of reducing. If
Yeah.
people reduced more, we'd all be better off, but we're never gonna solve that here today.
No, but there'll be probably changes, we're gonna really look at that to see how we can save the town some money and save the environment at the same time.
But one thing is when they were incinerating that trash, that plastic gives you a lot of heat,
Yes, it does.
takes a lot of energy.
Thank you for
too.
your time.
Okay,
Thank you, Linda.
thank you. Okay, driving on, I got town business. Okay, first thing I'd like to talk about, town business is
Yeah.
bills.
So, I know you guys weren't part of this, but I ended up having to call Pam Milliotto, cause we had created a check for Pete Kamash's, is it his mother that passed away, or his father?
Good month.
Yeah, was that in lieu of flowers? or
Okay.
something?
Yeah, we were gonna do
For
something in lieu of
diabetes.
flowers,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then Pam Milliotto said it's not a responsible use of taxpayers' money.
Okay.
Other people in town, town employees, immediate family members have passed away, nothing was ever done, why this? And so, you know, I think, there's no policy, but we should adopt a policy where it's immediate family members. I know some of them, it's just picking, some of them, they're out there a little bit, but.
Yeah.
I know we wanna send sympathy cards, but I think that's what we're gonna have to do, is sit down and create some kind of a
So wait a
small
second,
pool of
we
money
didn't
out of
send
petty
the check?
cash or something.
No, we did not, it's still in the,
And you didn't do
Still-
flowers either,
no, because they didn't want flowers, the,
but we wouldn't have an argument with Pam, would we?
Didn't we sign the check last week?
Yes, it
we
wasn't
did,
sent
but
out
it has not been
Oh.
mailed,
Yeah.
because the
So
treasurer,
flowers weren't done,
no,
by,
and then the board agreed upon the flowers, and then the check was
but I
agreed
was
upon.
following the wishes of the bereavement article that said, in lieu of flowers,
Yeah, that's
please
what
make
it
a
was.
donation, which is what we did, we wrote up a check for a
Diet,
donation,
American
for the
Diabetes
amount of
Association.
what we
For
would
what would
normally
we
Yeah,
use?
but a full week later
Flowers.
too.
the
The
notice.
week after the funeral.
Yeah, right, we heard about doing the flowers early in the week, I didn't see anything in the paper until later in the week, and then,
It's like, you still
Yeah.
send.
You know, unfortunately-
Doesn't make any difference. It's all
Unfortunately,
water
though,
over there.
unfortunately, no one's come to us in the past, you know, even with this new board, no one's come to us in the past with someone that's passed away.
Yeah.
That's happened in some of these situations.
Yep.
And I don't know if it may be because somebody's upset or whatever, but, you know, it's an unfortunate thing. I think somehow we need to at least address immediate family members when we're doing some, and even if we had petty cash to do that with, you know.
We do
some
pay
amount.
cash, though, don't we?
We do, but that would still be use of taxpayers.
It's use of the
I
taxpayers'
don't see
money.
how it's incorrect if 3 selectmen had agreed upon it. How is it people hire us to make a decision for the town?
Yeah.
We make decisions every day on public things.
Mm.
And that is a direct employee of the town, a full-time employee, and his mom passed away. And twice, we had meetings where we had consensus of the board and motions to either give them flowers and or that $50.
Mm.
And I don't think it should be done. I don't think Pam should be telling us that we can or can't do it.
She didn't tell us, she was just suggesting, pointed out. Now, for example, she had a personal, in her family, there was something that happened. She pointed out to Bob that nothing was ever done.
But
If
that
again-
wasn't by this board.
Well, it was last year, but nobody brought it to our attention.
You didn't know about it, maybe.
Right.
Yeah, no one brought it
You
to our
don't know,
attention.
how can you do, how can you react?
Right,
Yeah, if I don't know.
and Dave brought
The
it
only
up.
reason we all do this is A, Pete's employee through me, and I brought it to Lean's attention.
Yep.
If it was another individual and didn't get to Lean,
And I know.
nobody would've known.
I know Pete from growing up with
Yeah,
his
so-
family, and Jeff mentioned that his mom passed away in case I wanted to go to it. And I think I called Lean the next morning for flowers, but to me, when you have a full-time employee for the town, and one of their, like Bob said, their
It's an immediate family,
immediate
is
family
immediate.
member,
you know?
and you don't either send flowers or anything to them, I think that's
I think
kind
when
of a
it,
slap in the
when it
face.
becomes the grandparents or the,
Right, or
Yeah.
niece or
Uncle
nephew, I
or-
think
that's a little.
immediate family is where I think we need to cut it off, but I think that, you know, I think whatever we agreed to send out, we should be sending out.
Okay, well, what's the consensus of the board?
What do you think, Bob?
I
I think we should make an immediate policy,
Yeah.
just to make it on the record, go on the record now, make an immediate policy. So the thing is,
Full-time employees.
full-time employees, who have an immediate family member
Or themselves.
or themselves.
They'd be glad to get flowers.
And I think a mother and father is close enough for me.
I would think so.
Well,
Yeah.
mother, father, brother, sister.
Mother, father,
Yeah,
immediate family.
brother, sister, son, or daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
Hopefully not, but.
Yeah,
And so,
okay.
let's make a motion, let's put this into effect, it'll be an amendment to our personnel policy. And the thing is, the board, the problem, as a, Pam brought it up, the thing is, if we don't know about it, we can't act on it.
Exactly.
And that's the whole issue.
Like if Joe had told us, if it was her mom or something, then we would've done something last year. I had no idea that.
Yeah, and again, you can't fault someone for not having the information.
Right.
And,
And the thing,
we'll rely upon our department heads. If it's somebody for the police department, they can bring it up. If it's somebody for the transfer station.
Yeah, we've done it for the selectman that passed away, I mean, there's, you know,
Well, if you want loyalty out of an employee when they're having a hard time, that's, you know, to
I do
show
think
your
it- I do think it
sincerity
goes
to it
quite
goes
a
a long
ways.
ways.
Cause they know, so, you know, it was thoughtful, even though doesn't help any, it's just, well, they paid attention, they knew that,
Yeah.
I had a loss and acknowledged it.
So I'd like to send that out, and the only other thing, Mike, is we should put a dollar value of maximum of $50 maybe on there. I don't know, you guys
and,
wanna
and
do
it's
that?
strictly for
Sure.
full-time employees.
Right,
Yeah.
Okay,
I just thought if we put a
Well,
dollar
yeah, you
value
gotta
on
count
it.
all that time was.
well, you
There's
do,
not a whole
with you
lot of-
guys.
We don't have a whole lot of employees.
employees, and
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I mean, it's like gonna be a low dollar. No, I think I think it's great, I'm glad you're doing it. Thank you for.
Okay, let's make a motion, put it on, let's write this up, so it's documented. Help me with the words. I'll make a motion, I make a motion that we,
And then
make an amendment to the personnel plan, that the town will send either flowers or either a substitute donation to a charitable organization in lieu of flowers if requested by the bereaved family. A donation in the amount of not to exceed $50
for full-time town.
for full-time town employees for immediate family, such as mother, father, son, daughter, spouse, themselves.
Siblings,
I don't know, maybe the spouse
siblings.
didn't want the money to celebrate.
We're not
I
talking
didn't-
about
I
me,
didn't
we're
get a
not
second
talking
yet.
about me.
I'll second Mike's motion.
Any further discussion on the motion?
No siblings?
I said siblings.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Hearing no further discussion, except Bob's comment, all in favor? Aye. Lean, could you send that out via, to the supervisors?
And I think we ought to send the cards Bob got for
In
us.
addition-
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's be appropriate.
Yeah, if you just
Meantime.
sign it, then we can I could just insert,
Which one do you want?
adopt
This one?
the section of the,
Well, blue is for
donation.
boys, right?
Okay, Dave. So you're gonna, just to back up, this is retroactive with.
it's already,
Yeah.
it's on
In the
hold,
system.
it's all ready
It'll be
to go
done
out the
tomorrow.
mail.
I was just curious, that's all.
Okay.
It's already been approved.
Okay, good. Well, thank you, I appreciate you guys doing that. I think it's important.
Yeah, we had approved it a couple times, that's why I was frustrated when it's not.
But I might as well bring it to you as to
No,
what
yeah.
the
Oh, yeah,
conversation was, so that
I was up
here it's
north and I
clear.
did get a call from Pam, but she didn't
Oh.
leave any message.
Did you
Okay,
get a call
that's-
from me?
I thought it was about hay, to tell you the truth. So
Did you get a call from me?
I did, like, thanks for your call.
You should have said, hey,
They
where are
called
you?
back, 'cause they knew you had it under control.
Okay, anything else? Can I go into mailbox now?
Yeah.
Okay, continue mailbox items. All right, just to let you know, alarm systems, work in progress.
Yours is all set now?
I believe so.
That'll be good. Let us know if you run into anything with it.
It somehow stopped beeping about 2 weeks ago. No more alerts or anything.
I think ever since the number was changed,
Yeah,
huh, the
I
phone
kinda
number.
coincided with the
Technology,
number
yeah.
fiasco coming to an end and getting reprogrammed. It went away. And
Okay, I have a quote from Dunbarton Fuel for $2,000 worth of Flex Seal tape to fix the oil tank.
Flex seal tape?
No.
That's Mike.
The oil tanks are leaking, and Lean's making, it's gonna take action on it. We gotta fix 2 oil tanks, the highway garage is leaking, and also, the library.
the highway garage is not leaking at this point, but it's quite rusty. And
Yeah.
other select boards and myself talked about replacing it before it becomes a problem.
Would it be-
And we've just never done it, so.
Is it a 275?
I think technically it's a 330, but they're gonna replace it with 275.
That's one of those big cans that can kick
You-
down the road.
You know, the problem.
Exactly.
The problem is, it's more of a hassle to clean up contaminated soil than it is,
Yeah,
than,
it's in the building, but still, you don't wanna spill.
exactly,
And I
No,
mean,
I'm in
it's-
consensus to get it fixed.
Go ahead, okay.
right?
The library's already been taken care of.
I think the library actually really had an issue, right?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
there was a leak in that one.
We haven't got to
We
that point
think-
yet, this is
yeah.
proactive.
There's just some personal actions regarding the transfer station manager, Lean is handling that. And Bob, I've talked to the transfer station manager regarding the $3,000 budget item, I think it's been cleared up, so it's no issue any further. We get the signs done. Okay, I'm gonna go back to now, we get the report from the building inspector, we all had a chance to read it, you'll sign off on it, please. As I said, some of the stuff on the coffee shop is in there, they're making progress, but they still gotta make some wickets with the state as far as inspections for a food establishment. Okay, and that's it, public comment now?
Nope.
Public comment, sir? Close public comment, bring it back to the board, Bob, you're first.
Yeah, you know what? Gotta find out if the paperwork for the officer has been filled out for the person that likes to register their cars each year with a rubber check.
I'll write myself a note to remind you next time.
It has, I think as I checked with Linda 2 weeks ago, it has not been, she's still working on it, she told me.
Cause it's $1,400 and he'll be in pretty soon.
Right.
You know, it'll be the third year that,
The sergeant is still waiting on the town clerk to finish her paperwork, she has not finished the paperwork yet. And so it's, Lean, could you just send an email reminder? But as of 2 weeks ago, she was still working on it, I did do a follow-up on it.
I meant to ask her, but I forgot again tonight.
Okay. Anything else, Bob?
No, that's it, what time we're gonna be plowing Kelsey Road?
Oh, you know, I just remembered,
I'm just kidding.
as soon as it's proven.
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, that's one of the things, unfortunately, sometimes because of the intensity of the storm, if you have heavy snow, you guys are out. If you have light snow like we had, you know, it's fluffy.
You know, the previous storm, like Bob said, was heavy, plowed it 3 times. Nobody come in and said, hey, you did a great time that time, you know?
Typically, what I do is, LLC is, for the guys. I'll call all the plow operators up, but Dave and John Wigan I don't call. Because John knows his job, how long it takes him to plow the school. He's got, scheduled to meet for the school in the town office, and he takes care of that, whether he's gotta plow once, twice, or 3 times. And John's a pretty frugal guy, so he doesn't like to cost any more money. As to Dave's road, I leave it up to Dave, because he's right there and he knows the thing. That snow wasn't an impassable snowstorm or anything. As far as us plow drivers, I called all the rest of them in at 1 o'clock, and we were, at 12 o'clock, we were on the road at 1.
I think you went,
Making our first round at
I think. I don't know if
5:30
you-
was the second time.
I don't know if you, were plowing on my road, but I think you went by around 3:30, almost.
Yeah,
4
Bill,
o'clock?
Bill is back in the system now, so he's plowing your road.
Oh, okay,
So, again,
That's-
we were, I hit the road, 1:30, the pavement
Yeah.
actually, when the trucks all left the garage. So it goes out to Mansion Road, to Route 13, turns around, comes back, does yours, then goes over the down. Now, all of us were on the same route. And then the second time around was 5:30, whatever, cleaning up or whatever.
You know, and I didn't get into it tonight, cause I try not to.
Yeah,
I get up at 3 o'clock, there was only 3 or 4 inches on my
it
vehicle.
didn't materialize quite like they said it was.
So I
gonna.
said, there's no sense going now, cause everybody go over that, so I went out at 6:30, but it was finished.
It was fine. I think in this situation, we're never gonna make this customer happy, no matter what happens. It had gone away for a while, but the picking's back.
But the thing is, in my opinion, I saw no evidence of anyone purposely.
No.
I mean, 6:30 was a reasonable time to get out
Well,
and plow it.
So if he had left at 6:30 when it was plowed, he could have been to work at 7, but that vehicle never moved for several hours after that.
Well, the thing is, and the thing is, I told him that this is not the place to start throwing arrows. That was
Oh, yeah.
inappropriate. And the thing is, I told him I'm not gonna tolerate that. And, I don't think it was fair to you, and the thing is, but the thing is, it was a tough thing, but I'm just gonna ask you, everyone, as a principal driver, a plow driver, and as a secondary one, just do due diligence,
we tried.
as you continually have.
We tried.
And for the record, I don't think he stole anything. That was the accusation.
I don't know where I was coming from. I had nothing.
All right.
I'm just,
And the thing is, I'm gonna research the thing about asking for permission about the
I thought
turnaround.
we did last year.
And I
I
recall,
don't have a document in front of me that says we did.
just so I
it's in the
can,
court, it's in the court system. Why
exactly,
Yeah, why even dig into it at all?
because I was accused of,
You were right, it was, they did give it additional permission.
that's correct.
I have the emails too.
Okay, and so we'll leave it at that. Now, anything else, Dave, is on your,
Nothing else, no?
lean to you?
All right, I just wanted to remind the board, our budget hearing is scheduled for next Thursday, 7:30. I have decided not to upload the final version until the petition deadline is done on Tuesday. So once I find out whether he's going to submit that petition, I'll be able to delete it
Okay,
and then post it final, and then I'll have the final warrant and the MS 636 to have available for the board. You'll typically go through your warrant and budget presentation, and then after the budget hearing is closed, you can make the vote on your, both the warrant and the budget, and then I will
Or we can change anything based upon public input.
finalize that for, the town report. And then the last day for me to post both of those items is Monday, the 25th, so we have a little bit of time, but it's critical that a lot of this is all ironed out by the budget hearing. The town side of the town report is coming along. I'm only missing 2 annual reports from 2 different individuals, and unfortunately, the school is still lagging behind. I've received 1s to date, so I'm reaching out to as many people as I can.
Could you just send a courtesy email to Deb
Deb.
Cartier?
I already have, and she gave me her report immediately, so she's the only one I've received so far.
Okay.
But they all are
But
aware that I need to have those.
She could maybe put some subtle pressure on the other folks.
Yep, I could,
there are more than one are coming from the school.
there's usually about 24 reports that come from them. One is the budget, the warrant, a CIC, there's the superintendent, there's the nurse.
When's your final cutoff? Final cutoff, we have to have this stuff in.
I typically like to have that, all my documents in town report by the night of the public hearing. Because then the warrants, the final warrants that are discussed have been agreed upon, voted on, and those are the last few that I post into the, so schools is next Wednesday at 6 o'clock, ours is next
Yeah.
Thursday at 7:30. So by Friday, I'll be scrambling to get, at this point, 25 reports into the town report on Friday. So, I'll be busy for a couple of days, unfortunately.
I have a question for you.
Yep,
On the, I guess the break that the veterans get, and they wanna expand that.
that's what this
Again, you
is.
know, so that kinda gets figured into what's considered for taxes, correct?
No, there is no impact at this time. What will happen is it'll go into effect in the following year, and if it's passed,
Right.
So
it
we'll
all
have to
depends,
adjust our,
it all depends on the applications that we receive.
Right, but what I'm getting at is when it's applied for, and there's an amount of money that finally gets expended.
Yes,
That's-
$500 credits.
Right, that's considered in the following tax, correct?
Correct. Yep,
Property tax.
yep,
So, I mean, in the end, even the person getting a $500 tax credit
yep.
is paying a penalty for getting the $500 tax credit.
Why do you
Mhm. Well, what happens is
He has to pay a little bit more.
that you have to give
That's what I'm
back
saying.
everybody's $500 credits, but then you set the tax rate with that money
oh, so you mean
removed.
they're gonna pay 50 cents more to get $500?
I'll cover it all, yeah.
Yeah, it'll increase the bottom line
Well, it all
cost.
depends on,
How many apply?
yeah,
Where it
well,
comes from.
I ended up talking to Gary McCubbin, and he said, you know, he was gonna research it, and then he came back to me at one of those breakfasts and said, you know, you're right, that's a large impact in this town. So that's why I'm using that as,
Yep,
you know, if you're expending that kind of money, it might be more than 50
Hey,
cents,
do we
but-
have an idea how many veterans we have, or don't we?
oh, we do, I have it in the town report with the Board of Assessors now, I list it right there.
You don't have to do it
No,
this week, but
of the
maybe
one-
next week.
Of the
you
ones
can-
getting it now,
Right now, 117, there's, I
Oh,
think,
okay.
4 that are full credits of $1,400 credits, and then the remainder are 500, so it's, yeah, it's over 100.
But then when you expand it to even the ones that didn't serve
in a war.
during a wartime, all those vets would get a credit. for
That's what I was asking you, do we
$500.
know that amount of
Oh,
people?
no, we don't,
No,
we won't know until they apply.
Oh, okay, so
It's
you
a
don't
no.
know that amount of
No.
people.
But the thing is, for sure it will expand, that's a given.
Would our consensus tell us that, our census tell us that?
No, no,
You know what might give us
So
a
just looking to put some math to it.
when the, Fred Mullen has, but see that, the group like Gary McCubbin recognized the deceased veterans and took care of that. And because there's such a small group with, the parades and whatnot, they're all seniors, there's not a lot
Yeah,
of
we're
young
not gonna
people.
pay the dead ones.
I know that, but
You
there's
just pay the widows.
you don't see a lot of young,
You
or
are right about
middle-aged
that, though. Well,
veterans
generally, the
who-
widow
in the
gets
parade
transferred.
because
My mother moved out,
they
Josh gave hers back.
didn't
You
go
see,
to war, but
you buy one.
they, signed up and enlisted.
But we're talking about a specific year group, because anyone who serves over, like, I think it's 180 days now, since, I think, 9/11, we've been in a wartime state since 9/11. So we're talking about from, say, 2011, going back to maybe the 70s, 2001, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
going back to the 70s.
Yeah.
It's that year
That's the
group's-
window,
That's
yeah.
the window.
So they're in there,
And so if someone served in the service and it wasn't in a wartime scenario,
Yeah.
they're gonna be eligible.
right,
And we don't know the tax impact, that's,
so, no, and I think Gary had the numbers to work with. I don't, and he never
I was
shared
just
that,
wondering if there was a way we could derive how to get the numbers, so we could know what dollar value it was for.
you know.
Because, if you, before the town meeting, if you could tell somebody, this is gonna
What
be
the
X amount
impact
of
is,
impact,
right,
it'd be very helpful to have.
but then,
because it's an unknown right
Yeah.
now.
it's a gamble.
Yeah.
It's a gamble, we don't so know.
but you'll be voting on it next week.
But we're
Whether
not
you're
gonna
in
support
favor
it,
of
because it's an unknown.
I'll be here at the meeting next week.
Say again? No.
Public hearing, you don't wanna be here?
Oh, do you want
You
me to?
should be.
To defend, well, you have a warrant and a.
Yeah, I'll show up,
Yeah.
that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
Why is it not snowing?
I hope
It's
it's not.
supposed to be,
busy on Kelsey.
it's supposed to be snowing Thursday.
Dave,
Listen, I hate hearing that.
And could you, now, for the Republic, is Ron Slocum gonna be here?
I always send them a reminder,
Thank you.
but it is posted on our,
But he,
homepage of.
I understand that I've been taught, he gets a little reminder.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
No?
No, I think I'm all set with that.
Okay.
Bypass on that non-public right now?
Anything else? I'm gonna have to go to Lane for anything else she has on her plate. Are
Nope.
you finished?
I'm done.
Now you make a motion.
Do you want to do public comment?
I did.
Make a motion that we adjourn at 8:47 PM.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.